The 5-2 Virginia Cavaliers headed to the unfriendly confines of Homewood Field to take on the 4-3 Johns Hopkins Blue Jays. Both teams needed this win badly. Admittedly, Hopkins, they needed it a little bit more, and it ended up being an excellent game. Both teams fought insanely hard. UVA came out swinging, scoring the game's first 2 goals. The first, just 7 seconds into the game, Petey LaSalla stuck one off the opening face, and Matt Moore followed that up just over 2 minutes later with a deep shot that caught Ryan Darby sleeping. Hopkins answered back and quickly, rattling off 3 consecutive goals over 2 minutes and 36 seconds. The first, an unassisted stick by Jack Keogh, looked like Rode lost it in the sun, and the run was capped by Evan Zinn absolutely stinging the top right corner on a feed from Brett Baskin. Hopkins took their first lead of the game, 3-2. After exchanging a couple of goals, Hopkins regained the lead by a score of 4-3, seeing Cole Williams drop a beautiful pass to Kyle Marr on the crease with 1:58 left in the first. Virginia was down by a goal, 5-4, when Dox Aitken went 5-hole on Ryan Darby, knotting things up at 5s. Every time Hopkins got a lead, UVA had an answer. An incredible save by Alex Rode led to Jared Connors breaking upfield and eventually feeding Ian Laviano for his first goal of the game just 62 seconds into the second half, giving the Cavs their first lead since early in the first quarter. Joey Epstein scored his third goal of the game, a classic question mark, knotting things back up at 7s, and Connor DeSimone followed that up with an unassisted tally of his own, giving Hopkins a 1-goal lead with 10:21 left in the third quarter. Michael Kraus would act quickly in equalizing the score for UVA, ripping rope with 7:50 remaining in the third, tying things back up at 8s. That is a Leaf Elsmo reference. Dox Aitken followed up a Ryan Conrad goal, both unassisted, and Virginia gained their largest lead of the game, feeling solid at 10-8. Evan Zinn scored assisted by Kyle Prouty just 21 seconds after the ensuing faceoff, giving Hopkins some hope with the score back to a single goal, 10-9 Virginia. And that's when the wheels came off. Ian Laviano would spark a 4-goal UVA run assisted by Michael Kraus, and Dox Aitken would cap the run with a cannon that smoked poor Ryan Darby off his left hip. He had no chance. Joey Epstein would stop the bleeding for Hopkins by scoring a goal up the left side with 8:50 remaining in the contest, getting Hopkins back to within 4, 14-10 Virginia. But Matt Moore would finish off the scoring on the day for the Cavaliers, nabbing Darby's attempt to clear with one hand and burying it, giving Virginia a 16-10 lead. Joey Epstein would muster one more goal for Hopkins, but that would be all she wrote as Virginia goes into Homewood and comes out with a convincing 16-11 victory over their hated rival Johns Hopkins. Michael Kraus quietly put up 3 goals and 2 assists on the day. Matt Moore and Dox Aitken each scored hat-tricks. Ian Laviano went for 2 goals and a dish. Joey Epstein continues to impress in his freshman campaign, good for 5 goals on just 11 shots. Kyle Marr and Evan Zinn each scored 2 goals for Hopkins. Alex Rhodes for Virginia, his 10 saves versus 11 goals against, won the goalie battle over Ryan Darby's 12 saves versus 16 goals against. Heartbreaking loss for Hopkins. It's heartbreaking because here they are now. They sit at 4-4, and they've got Michigan, Rutgers, Ohio State, Penn State, and Maryland left as part of their Big Ten gauntlet. So that is just a brutal schedule to finish the season. I mean, you would just hope at that point to go 3-3 over that stretch. Hopkins is legitimately going to have to go 4-2, 5-1 over that stretch to make sure they get themselves into the playoffs. They always have the Big Ten tournament also. I believe it's the Big Ten tournament winner that gets the bid out of that conference. But still, Hopkins needed this win badly. They didn't get it, so they're going to have to regroup and really get some stuff done here over the second half of the season. Virginia, they've got it far easier moving forward. They've got Richmond and Utah next. Neither are guaranteed wins, but they're not Michigan, Rutgers, Ohio State, Penn State. After those 2, though, they do have UNC and then Duke, bitter ACC rivals. So those should be really tough games. But sitting at 5-2. They're looking good over the next 4 games. Even if they just split them 2-2, they finished the season with, I think it's Marist and somebody else, 2 cupcakes for the most part for them. So they're sitting pretty at 5-2 right now. They're happy with how this game went. Alex Rode, he looked solid in cage again. And in the end, Hopkins, they'll be tough. You can't ever count Hopkins out, not with Petramala, but Virginia. I mean, we're seeing a lot of the ACC teams now. UNC having a good start to the season. Syracuse now playing well. Virginia now playing well. Duke playing some of the best lacrosse in the country, if not the best lacrosse in the country right now. So the ACC, at first it was a little hairy, and everyone was wondering what was happening with Syracuse losing some early and Virginia losing some early, Duke losing one to High Point early. But now the ACC is looking strong with Virginia at 5-2. Cuse and Duke face off tomorrow. I think Duke is 6-1. Cuse is 4-2. So the ACC looks strong. UNC is even strong right now. So it's anyone's league still in the ACC.